Welcome back to Junction 119. This is Kellan,
This is Casen.
and I'm coming to you, at least for you, Casen, live from the basement where it all began. Quite literally, I'm,
Yeah.
vis- I'm visiting my mom's house in Pittsburgh, and it's funny. And I was trying to get audio right with Casen at the beginning of this, and I'm having to use my iPhone, my earbuds, my AirPods to kind of like use the mic here because I actually did bring the regular mic that covers my mouth home, as you can see here.
Yeah.
I just forgot the cord that plugs into the normal computer. So I've got the research computer now as the recording computer, and I've got the recording computer on the research duty. But nonetheless, we're here, dude. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
I got to say, it is kind of interesting being like when I was setting all this back up. I'm back in town just for Mother's Day weekend and everything. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Um, and it was nostalgic sitting back in this seat. Literally, the Steelers towel is behind me, as you
Hmm.
might remember. It's just like it's. I think of like every memory of our show at the very beginning 3 years ago, like floods back. So
Yeah,
um, yeah, it's really
absolutely.
cool, man. But we do have a good lineup here. This is going to be mostly a popular culture heavy show, I think, today. But we are going to start. I guess I'll start with breaking news, Kason, as I'm sure you might have heard. But breaking news, as of at least in my neck of the woods, it does sound like Mr. Aaron Rodgers will be quarterbacking the Steelers uh, again this coming season. That was news as of in the last like 4 hours. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, I think it was kind of like obvious, unless he doesn't want to play anymore. And then, yeah, today it was like, yeah, he's back in town and he's, making that decision soon, probably. I don't know.
And who knows?
But
Maybe it was always his choice to come back, and he loves keeping up the aloofness of it. But uh,
yeah,
nonetheless,
I mean, you know, Aaron, like he loves to be in the headlines, and he loves to make everything about him a circus, and so
he
it's just
also
like,
he also has to have full spiritual clarity before he makes any major life decision. Right? Let me.
yeah,
Who
I'm
knows where he
genuinely
goes?
curious. Yeah, I need to know how many days he spent in a darkness retreat to come to this
Yeah,
decision.
yeah, with the smoke and mirrors and everything going through. But nonetheless, it sounds like there will be a McCarthy and Aaron reunion in the Berg that they'll hammer out over the weekend. So there's that. But I wanted to really begin today's show. There's a lot that's happened in the last month. Obviously, show's still a little sporadic, but we're trying to get you a show every 2-ish weeks or so as we can. But I do have here, I got the NBA bracket open in front of me. And this is
Hmm.
usually kind of your area, I say, of expertise. I always feel like every time in the past, of which we've had some great conversations about the NBA playoffs, me sitting right here at this table in the past, I just feel like every single time we do this, I'm like, I don't know how much insight I can provide, but I do pay attention. So it's like, you know, but I live in Cavs country. That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of forced to pay attention even if I don't want to.
Hmm.
But we are in round two, and I just kind of wanted to get your overall thoughts. Anything that's standing out. Where are we headed?
Yeah, so I mean, I will again preface by saying, uh, just for the record, it is a little hard to pay attention to the playoffs with the seventh month old. Uh,
Sure.
so, uh, so from what I have seen, it's as far as the Cavs go, it's kind of same old for like the last 4 years of being really good and we should be contending, but we just kind of fall apart and shoot ourselves in the foot so many times.
Mm,
Like this team, we went all in to get James Harden to really try and make a push, and here we are in the playoffs with James Harden being a turnover machine, and they're like they don't look as good as they should, if that makes
yeah.
sense. It's always like for me, this sort of like Renaissance post LeBron Cavs of like being really competitive is it's usually just summed up with like they're never as good as they should be. like for who they have and for what they are, they're never quite meeting what they should be doing.
It's like
I don't
something's
know.
never. It's like something's not quite there.
Yeah,
Or
like
you know,
they've cycled through coaches a couple times, and it's worked out better than others different years, and then they've done some different overhaul pieces, like they shipped out Sexton, they shipped out Darius Garland, and then I mean, so and it's just you'd think that like they'd be able to find something that can work, but they always end up like finding these situations to where they run into these opponents who somehow really get their number. And it's like I don't know why that Toronto series went that long. I don't I don't understand why we're seemingly unable to play actual basketball
well,
against Detroit. It's just like we'll see what happens the rest of the series, but it's just like I mean because I mean maybe hopefully they'll even it up by the time this airs, but it's just like I don't I don't know like what is happening to where it's like so up and down sometimes. It's like I don't know, but
no, I understand, and I hear your frustration. I echo it, and I don't echo it per se, but I hear it. I should say rather in my regular everyday life. It just seems like there's like this overall Cleveland pessimism that still hangs around the Cavs over the course of almost even the entire NBA seasons because it's sort of like, hey, the Cavs are really good. It's like, okay, yeah, but are they good enough again? And then of course in comes Detroit, Cade Cunningham, and the guys. It's giving the one seed's going to one seed. I will say at the very beginning of this, but like you said,
yeah,
it was just game one. We'll see. I did have to hear a whole lot about how their rimgate controversies in Toronto with the crazy stuff that's happened, Jack in the Box plays and everything else, harkening back to Kawhi's incredible shot back in the day. And I was like, huh, maybe there is something about the rims in Toronto that we got to investigate. But
yeah.
it sounds,
They're
yes,
Canadian rims. I don't know what that means, but
they are Canadian rims. They're Canadian rims. You never know what's going to pop off there. I will say on the other side, I did find it fascinating. And in 7 games, the 76ers took out the Celtics. Did not see that coming. Setting up a very interesting
yeah.
Philly Knicks series, which right now, as of this tape, go
Which
ahead, go ahead.
on that Sixers Celtics series,
Hmm.
I think the obvious answer to that is Jaylen Brown going live on Twitch or whatever, like and out like the next day to complain about the refs and getting fined for that. Like I think it's very obvious that the Celtics having that championship in like kind of the question mark maybe semi-fraudulent way that they did, it
Hmm.
got them like way too like addicted to their own stuff, and they think that they're and like they're way too full of themselves and think that they're better than they actually are. Like that's sort of
Yeah.
like been the Boston way of it's like win one championship and then think you're going to win the next 50. Like
Which
like
which
like
can you
like
blame the Boston? Can you blame
well,
Boston
I saw
fans?
this graph of like, and it was like sort of like timelining the Celtics championships, and they've literally won two like since the 80s. So it's
Yeah,
like, what are you obsessed with here? Like since Larry Bird, you've won two.
yeah, and you can't really string them together like you used to be able to. And and they've had obviously great teams build up, and they're a constant playoff team. I get it. They're in a lot of ways the Yankees of the NBA, right?
Hmm.
But I also think what comes with that is they're expecting these privileges, right? They're expecting to get that lucky call or to for this flop to work, or I think that there's an entitlement that comes with that, and it's on full display. And it's like we're just going to charm our way through this. And I feel it feels like every year where the years where at least prior to the championship, when the Celtics would get eliminated, Bostonians just descend on TikTok and other things just to complain about how like they'll get into crunch time and then this team just stops playing hard. They think they're just gonna charm it up. Even way back when the Heat eliminated them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler hit Heat. It was just like these guys are fighting through screens. They're doing this. They come into our place. They shoot the lights out of the joint. And it's like, yeah, because, they know how to play hard. And it seems like there's a little bit of that Celtics. I don't know. They think the
I
Celtics charm's just going to carry them through.
I will say, um, I don't know what happened with the city of Boston, but like the is there like a curse upon the city of Boston now? Because is this the worst year they've ever had? Like between all of their sports, the Patriots getting killed in the Super Bowl, along
Yeah.
with the stuff that's happened since then with the Patriots,
Yep.
and then
The recent headlines.
The Bruins getting eliminated by the Sabres. You have the Red Sox in the basement of the AL East. Then you have the Celtics getting eliminated by the Sixers. Like this is like crazy, terrible luck for Boston sports fans.
It's terrible luck, but when you consider the fact that like when you consider the last like 20 years of our lives
It's
and
just
how they're just
it's
constantly
when they're all
succeeding.
so good at the same time, then they all swing back and they're all terrible at the same time.
They all swing back, and also like Boston fans, like I said, when Boston teams lose, they crash out immediately. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They lose their minds. It's everyone's fault but
yeah.
their own. It is
It's like
possible.
The Patriots got killed in the Super Bowl that they shouldn't have even been in, and
And
that mood ingrained in the entire city, and every athlete in the city just started playing like trash.
and,
I don't know.
and I don't mean to bash Boston too much here, but it's really been in our lifetime
No, go
because
ahead.
anyone, I was going to say, anyone over the age of 40 would be like, yeah, for the longest time, Boston was basically just the Celtics, kind of the Bruins here and there. The Patriots were awful, and the Red Sox were cursed. You know what I mean? For the longest time, that was them. So I just think that I don't know. We're not returning back to that. It's a great sports town or whatever, but I just think like they're probably not doing as well as we usually think. It's just they're louder when they go out. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
I did want to shift to the West because I don't know I have a sneaky suspicion that it might be Wemby's world and we're all living in it. Um,
Uh huh.
yeah, it's finally the series I think is ultimately going to be the most fun is this Timberwolves Spurs series between the characters involved, the games, and quite frankly, I haven't been able to watch quite frankly a minute of this series yet. I'm thinking that could change. It's could change tomorrow when they play the next game, but we're recording this on a Thursday, by the way. Uh, but yeah, I think this could be kind of the coming out playoffs for Wembanyama because there's a large part of me that wants to see them and the Thunder in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I guess kind of skipping over that too. I
Mhm.
think the Thunder will clear the Lakers here. I
Me too.
With Luca out and basically that team being Grandpa LeBron and nobody else. I don't. I mean, credit to LeBron for making it this far by him.
Always.
Like,
Yeah.
but I just don't think he has enough support to get through a team like the Thunder. And so the Thunder and the Spurs would be an incredible conference finals.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some two of the teams with some of the top top picks in the last couple of years. Um,
Kind of the next faces of the league.
yeah, yeah.
Also, again, international faces of the league,
Hmm.
mind you, and so with some of these guys. So, yeah, I just think that this has the makings of another Western Conference Finals is going to be the champion type season. Uh, I think, not counting the T Wolves out, but as someone who long
Yeah,
time was a sympathizer of the old Popovich Spurs, it is kind of interesting just to see how great that organization just always has been. Like
yeah. Well,
they've never been bad in my lifetime.
I, 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 I. I'm waiting for some old head to like turn on the conference finals and it's like the Thunder and the Spurs and they're like, where, where's KD? Where's Tony Parker?
Where's
Where's
Manu
Manu?
at? Yeah, where's Ginobili
like,
at? Some really old head's going to be like
this is such
some
a
really
2010 series that like the Thunder and Spurs.
some really old
Uh,
head's going to be like, "Where's Robert Ory at?" I'll be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, okay, that's going way too far
Where's
back."
the Admiral?
So that's cool. So I mean, I let me just put this out there. I'm always generally pulling for the Cavaliers, okay? but I will say this newfound Piston squad at a time when Detroit has, let's be real, they've been struggling across sports as far as the ones that they have that are really competitive in terms of getting through getting over the hump, I should say. Um, I think the Cavaliers can come back and make it a series. It's only one game in, but I'd be
So
pulling for that to happen.
here's the really interesting thing about this of like you obviously know just the general nature of like Detroit versus Cleveland stuff. And
Yes.
then like along that you have the Pistons head coach is JB Bickerstaff who was fired by Cleveland a couple years
Hmm.
ago. And then along with that, the owner of the Cavs is from Detroit. So it's
I didn't know that.
yeah, like
Well,
well, like Rocket Mortgage is like headquartered in Detroit, and so it's like I always thought it was super weird that like of all that like he owns the Cavs because I'm like why, like
yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
mean you
no,
couldn't get the Pistons, but like
right,
it's
exactly.
just
No
generally
Detroit team.
weird. It's like you're from Detroit, so like why are you here? But
Well, streams of revenue. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
at the end of the day, the team I could purchase, right? But that is fascinating. I guess I'll ask you, who comes out of the East? What's your
I
gut telling you?
so I think it'll be so was it the Knicks are up 2-0 on the Sixers, is that
The
right?
Knicks are up 2-0 on the Sixers, and
Um,
yeah, keep going.
I yeah, I my guess would be it'll be Pistons Knicks, which will be entertaining. I mean, if you keep getting Timothy side on the sideline, uh, in MSG, um, but then I think the Pistons probably somehow pull that one out. I don't know, um, because
In terms,
the Pistons have been a pretty well-rounded team all year, and
mhm.
like as the one seed, they've kind of been consistent that way. Um, but I mean, you never know with the Knicks because the Knicks are they can get feisty sometimes.
Yep,
So,
this newfound reality with a good Knicks team is interesting, man.
but I would say I gotta go with the Pistons just to pick on that one. So Pistons Thunder or Pistons Spurs would be real interesting. Like this is actually finally going to be like a new age finals if you
Yeah,
get Cade versus Chet or Cade versus Wemby, like you're gonna have like a whole lot of um eyes on the younger players of the league.
and say what you will about the play in the NBA over the last really decade, and we all have plenty to say about it. Okay, I'm not saying that that's not something you should take into account. I mean, there are times when I'm watching and it's just such a three fest, and even in the playoffs where I just can't really get into it. However, the intensity of the games as the playoffs goes on does make it interesting. But this could be setting up for yet another even more parity in the league. Well, we've had so many new winners over the last like half decade, and I take it back to that stat like last year where I forget how many it was, but Adam Silver had just finished crowning like his 12th different champion in terms of different teams last year. And across the 30 something years that David Stern was the commissioner, how many different franchises do you think that he and in fact, I take it back. I want to say it was nine last year. Um, how many different franchises do you think David Stern awarded the NBA in terms of parity, NBA title?
Like six.
Close, eight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about the Jordan years and all those years and how
Yeah.
everyone would win back-to-back titles and everything. It makes sense. So, say what you will, but the NBA has kind of started to figure out at least its parity, at least in that sense of making it interesting every year. No.
Yeah, I mean, in the interest of parity, like the larger conversation is like there's just no universe to where every team in the league has a chance at winning. Like every
Yeah.
team has different players. They have different salary cap situations. They have different draft picks, and so it's just every year each team is in a different situation. And so I would say probably if you have 30 teams in a league, given any year, probably 10 teams are in the world to where they might be able to win. Like
And
I feel like pretty much most leagues, like one third of the league is actually going to be competitive to win.
yeah,
And
I I also saw something
and
sad
and
today.
so and so if you average like one third of the league winning the title over X amount of years, like that's probably about fair.
My Chicago Bulls haven't won a playoff series since like the 14-15 season or something. I'm like,
I
yeah.
mean this is look, I this is karma. Like I you don't get to like the if you were a bull if you were like a Bulls fan from Chicago that was
Oh yeah,
around for the Jordan years, you don't get to complain until like 2050, okay?
yeah. I agree with that. But keep in mind, remember, I became a fan because of D Rose and those guys. But
Yeah.
yes, the
If
majority of fans are not me.
and you weren't like really alive for that, so it's fine.
Not really. All right. So cool, cool, cool. If it's time to transition, we can move on to the ice because of the hat you have
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And I know generally speaking, you and I are both probably more hockey heads than we are a lot of other professional sports, quite frankly, just between your Knights and my Pittsburgh Penguins. All Stanley Cup playoffs are also in the second round now. I'm not going to lay it out because we know who it is. I'm not going to just say who it is, but we know. I'll just go ahead and get this off my chest. My Pittsburgh Penguins were eliminated by the Philadelphia Flyers. We had a good old fashioned Flyers Penn series. The Flyers went up 3 games to none, and they looked fantastic. I mean, their defense was just incredible. There were so many situations where everybody from Sid to Carlson to Gino, no one had an open lane. I mean, I'm talking like it was the slimmest of margins to even score on those guys. And I don't put anything unnecessarily on Stuart Skinner and those guys in net. Slilov's got the switch in net. The Flyers were just younger and better. They've been really, really hot over the last like month of the season. That was going to happen. I'll let you talk about the Knights, and then we can kind of talk about the game board, so to speak, as a whole.
Uh yeah, I mean I think it sort of needs a preface with like I the Knights to me sometimes feel like it's sometimes like kind of jarring when they want to do their best like Chelsea impression and get a new coach like every 6 months. And so it is a little jarring that Torts is the coach of the Knights now.
Yeah,
But uh yeah, I mean they they're kind of like the Cavs in a way. They're also like up and down. Sometimes they really underperform to what they should and to what they are, at least on paper. Um, and so you get into these situations where, you know, they don't close out series as well as they should. And, I kind of go limping into the next round. Um,
they still dispatched
it's,
Utah in 6 games.
yeah, but I mean, Utah, but I it was it was also the fact that like Vegas as a whole was like getting clowned by Utah. Like I don't know if you saw this on social media, but like
I did.
the Mammoth people were holding like promos where you like donate your Vegas jersey and they'll give you a Utah one. And like there was a line around the arena to do that. And I was just like, oh my
Yes,
like it
because
was
you're
just awful.
because you're all
Uh
a bunch of bandwagoners. You
and
aren't, but
I
they
was like,
are.
okay. I was like, at least conceptually makes sense that people from Utah would have joined the fandom because Utah and Vegas. But then when Utah got a team, the people they were like, okay, we'll follow them now. But like
Yeah,
it makes sense conceptually, but like it's an awful look for the team.
it is.
But
But I will
anyway,
say the potential for the regional rivalry there is really, really strong. Also, they met in the playoffs immediately. You know, upon Utah, upon obviously Phoenix moving to Utah. Uh,
Yeah,
I will say, if I'm picking by sheer logos, I'm picking Utah. The Mammoth have an incredible logo. Just saying. Um,
fair.
that being said, uh, I will say on the other side of the bracket, that's probably the kind of the biggest story so far. The Anaheim Ducks dispatch the two-time reigning Western Conference champions in in kind of sealing something that I heard and I thought was pretty brutal. But Connor McDavid is now the Josh Allen of hockey, and I was like, dude,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, that's brutal. That's brutal.
Uh, yeah. I mean, like, is Connor McDavid gonna be a Maple Leaf now? I don't know. People are saying, yeah. I mean, look, the Oilers are just gonna be cursed forever. Like, I don't know. Like, that's
Yeah.
just how it's gonna happen. I mean, so yeah. I mean, if I'm McDavid, if I'm Drysdale, I'm like getting out of there. I'm just like, no.
Well, that's
Because
just it. I
it's just
mean,
never gonna work. I don't know why. I don't know how a team that like the Oilers can be as good as they are in the regular season. It's just never gonna work in the playoffs. I don't get it. I
well,
don't
and it,
understand it.
it doesn't help that they ran into just like two incredible squads there in Florida 2 years in a row, like who didn't even make the playoffs this year. You know what I mean? So I feel for them in that regard, but I have also seen the same chatter, and I do think it is getting to the point where if you're McDavid, you might want to be kind of assessing your contract and being like, huh, you know, what's it going to take? But also, I don't know. If you drop McDavid on the right team in the East, I really think that could be dangerous. Um, yeah, I don't I don't know that that's I'm not a hockey GM, and seemingly it's there's more levers and there's more pieces you need to add to really build a cup contender. There's more that needs to come together. I feel all at once for what, in my opinion, is the hardest team sport to win a championship in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if it like looking at it, game six, the Ducks won 5-2. Connor McDavid, uh, I'm trying to get these. Connor McDavid didn't register a point
Hmm.
in the last game, and he ended up with obviously, you know, the forwards are not technically at fault for this entirely, but Connor McDavid ended up as the only person or one of two people on the Oilers team, or one of the two forwards on the Oilers team with a -3
Mm.
plus minus. And so obviously he's just on the ice a lot, so like it's gonna happen. But like
No, but that's noteworthy.
I,
That's a good stat.
I mean, I'm just saying, you're talking a closeout game to where it's a must win to stay alive in the postseason, and your best player is out there for critical mistakes that allow you to lose that game, and and he's not making any big moves himself. Like he's not scoring, he's not getting assists. He only had 3 shots, so it's just I don't. I mean it definitely feels like he's very Josh Allen esque
I
like
knew I was.
it like you said it. I mean there's no other comparison
I knew
like
you were waiting to.
that is like he's very Josh Allen esque.
If I didn't say it, you would have said it by this sequence. Like you would have said it for me.
There's no other comparison. I mean that's just
That
what it is.
at least for right now, among the squads like that. I do want to give some love because I am officially pulling for the Buffalo Sabres back in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Actually pulled off one of my favorite hockey wins ever in this postseason. The way they came back, I want to say, no, it was in game one against the Boston Bruins. They scored 4 goals in 4 minutes and 46 seconds to come all the way back from a 2-0 deficit or 3-0 deficit, I think it was. And would have been 3-3, whatever. It was a 2-0 deficit, and then they did it, and then they think they scored a third or whatever. They won that game. And you could tell it was just kind of like the big mo of the momentum swinging in that direction. Shout out Josh Allen for chugging a beer right before game two, only for them to then lose. Uh, I'm sorry to take so many shots. But They're also now up one game on to Montreal, and they looked really good in the process. I'm pulling for a team that hasn't been here in a long time to make a serious run here. That being said, Carolina's coming.
Yeah.
Jordan Stahl and the Carolina Hurricanes look incredible. They have not lost a game yet. They look very like whatever that year that was, 2012, LA Kings esque, when they like
Hmm.
didn't when they came in as like the eighth seed and didn't lose a game like all the way to the finals, and beat the Devils. So I don't know, man. I would be okay with that too because I love Jordan Stahl from back in the 2008-9 Penguins days. He was part of the three-headed monster in those days. Famously ended up on he's from the Stahl family, kind of took the captaincy from his brother Eric, who has since retired, who also might be in the organization still. He might have a role. I honestly don't know. Don't quote me on that. But Jordan Stahl's a captain, and so it would be cool to see him hoist the cup again. And I certainly want them to beat the Flyers. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I either way. I mean, if you get Sabres, Canes, I mean that's two teams who haven't been there recently, at least.
be a fun Eastern
And
Conference Finals, man.
and so yeah, I mean if we end up with which it might be, if we end up with like Colorado, Vegas on the other side, at least you've got two fresh teams on the other side to
It's
maybe
your
keep things interesting.
it's your boys in Eichel versus Hale McCarr. That'll be a great series
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have great feelings about that if that does end up happening. Yeah, I don't know. I just hate playing that Avalanche, but
Yeah. Well, the perennial playoff juggernaut Knights that you root for there, and with not with your ticket there in the background, still chugging through. And famously, the Knights were the first championship we celebrated on this podcast of any of our teams winning it, and to this day,
mhm.
still the only one. I don't count the McLarens last year for Formula One because I was such a newer Formula One fan. So I'm one of the only people that follow Formula One in my circle. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's what. Is it time to transition?
Yeah, yeah, we can
So
go
our
ahead and do that.
so our pop culture
Well,
half of the
but
show. No, go ahead.
we
Go
we
ahead. Go ahead.
should briefly at least acknowledge that the NFL draft happened.
Yeah, we were
Um,
gonna have a
I
draft.
We were gonna
Go
have a
ahead.
draft episode, and then I was out of town last weekend, and so I didn't end up being I wasn't able to make it before I left.
It's
But
okay. Go ahead.
the good thing is the draft was kind of lame and not really noteworthy. So like
Listen, the best thing about the draft was where it took place. I know a lot of people that were there. Obviously,
yeah, yeah.
it was in Pittsburgh. To be completely honest with you, I was very skeptical at the city's ability to host it. Not necessarily that infrastructure wise, just the layout of the city. Like I work with a lot of graduate assistants, and I was giving them a lot of them were going to go work the draft and various different things. And I was those who weren't familiar with Pittsburgh. I literally had Google Earth pulled up at one point in the office and was saying, "Well, here's where the stage is. Here's where this is. Maybe the best way to get in and out of town." I'm happy to report that for what was like 4 years in the making, the city did a great job handling the draft. I've heard almost nothing but good things coming out of it. Like they really built the right infrastructure, they did the right things, and they're showing that because let's be honest, the NFL draft itself is a pretty low key event. Like when it's actually going on, I
Mhm.
mean, it's names being read on a stage, and then some dudes come out and hug the commissioner potentially with jerseys and stuff. Like actually putting the draft on, you just need a spot where a whole bunch of people can stand and look up at a stage. Which I remember sending you a TikTok that I said I would not want to be in that mosh of people, but if you wanted to be, you can, and it's free. So I'm happy the city pulled off the draft well.
Uh, yeah, and in that vein, the next draft next year is going to be on the National Mall in Washington D.C.,
Yep.
which, as someone who was there this weekend, um, that is going to be a disaster.
You think
Like
so?
an
Really?
absolute it. Well, I mean, look, events happen there all the time with a ton of people. It's just
Right.
it's not usually this like highly produced event. And so it's just like I'm trying to like figure out how that's gonna work. Whatever. I mean, it's just I maybe it's just a me thing. Like as a tourist who I mean who's been to DC several times, one
Yeah.
of my least favorite places to go is the National Mall.
Mm.
Only because the experience of like it's cool to see obviously like all the stuff there, but like the experience of being there is like so annoying and frustrating just from the fact that like the mall is like kind of this island where like there's nothing there. Like the
I
like
get what you mean.
you're
Yeah.
very far away from any subway stop. Like you have to walk to get there from anywhere. And then there's no real bathrooms anywhere. And so it's just like kind of this island that's like secluded from everything infrastructure wise. And so
I guess I'm
and
thinking about it from the sense of, yeah, but it's the draft. Like they will take care of those shortcomings for the amount of people that are going to
I'm
be
sure
down
they
there.
will. It's just it's going to be interesting to see how it works.
My thing about it is it's a much wider space. And let's be real, all you really need is like a really big like parking lot type thing to where a stage can look cool. I don't know where exactly they're going to put the stage itself, but I would assume by then that like new stadium for the Washington Commanders is going to be like starting to be built where RFK used to be. And so I don't know if they'll put it in the shadow of that or if they'll want to put it like shadow of like the Lincoln Memorial or Washington Memorial. I don't know. But I think spectacle wise, it could look cool to have one of the most like innately American events happening right there on the National Mall, especially for international NFL fans.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it obviously like visually, I'm sure it'll be cool. I'm just thinking logistics, and I'm just curious to see how it works. But
Hey man, they made Pittsburgh
anyway,
work, and I swore it wasn't going to work out well. I really, like, I was surprised at how good apparently it all worked out. So if they can pull it off there, I'm gonna have the faith that they can pull it off in the National Mall. But we'll see. I like this new age where they're shopping the draft around. I mean, I remember a time when it was just in Radio City Music Hall, and then, obviously it's been in Cleveland, it's been in Detroit, it's been
mhm.
in Green Bay, now Pittsburgh, and they've all looked pretty cool you know? So, yeah,
And the rumors are that following the one in DC next year, it'll be in Minnesota, then Cincinnati is I think what the rumors are.
mm,
So interesting to say the least. But
interesting. Minnesota would be cool. That's the other thing about the draft. It's a spring event. So,
yeah,
usually, other than rain, and weather's not really an issue. So, especially since they moved it back, they moved it all the way
yeah.
to clear the end
I
of
mean,
April,
look, look. I mean, I'm fine with like with the draft moving around like this because it's a whatever event. Like, okay, and you're able to like actually give that experience to NFL cities that are never going to host a Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Pittsburgh never going to get a Super Bowl. Cincinnati never going to get a Super Bowl. Like Cleveland might get one to
Yeah.
justify building this thing, but like I don't know. I anyway, but you can it's a spring event that you can have in cities with outdoor arenas or with outdoor stadiums, and so it's
Get
fine.
just to get this out of the way, I thought the Steelers draft was fine. Um, I mean, I could sit here and be like, oh, yeah, I didn't know who most of the guys were. What are we doing drafting Drew Aller? That's all I got. No one
I thought that was
in,
so
yeah,
funny. That was so funny.
the
Like
longtime Browns fan doesn't even want to put the Steelers hat
yeah,
on. Yeah, it's like, well, haha.
like I it's also just objectively funny because like you already have Will Howard who outplayed him on the team. Like
Absolutely.
I don't understand.
Well, look, think about that QB room now. I think someone will probably get traded as we open the show. You got Aaron Rodgers coming back. You'll have those two new guys. You still have Mason Rudolph in there. So we'll see what happens. Um, the saga's not over. But
Mhm.
do you want to comment on the Browns draft or the Chiefs draft or any plethora of
Yeah,
whatever?
no, I mean, look, I don't even know who the Browns drafted to be honest. Outside of the tackle I guess they took
That's
early, but
fine.
I mean, look, the Chiefs' big surprise, which was like actually kind of odd, was that they traded with the Browns
They
to sort
did.
of to move up to get the best cornerback of the draft, which I don't know, whatever. I mean, it didn't really end up costing a lot, but like it was kind of weird because I don't think anybody was going to take him, but must have thought that somebody would have. But it doesn't matter because they really needed him because they trading McDuffie. This was like kind of an obvious thing that everybody thought was going to happen because like when they traded McDuffie, the number one priority on the roster was getting no, a new cornerback that can fill that hole, and that's what Mansour Delane from LSU can do. Um, but the interesting thing I think to me was Garrett Nussmeier. Um, just because like very like obviously flyer type of pick. Um, but potential. I don't know. I liked him as a project coming out. I was like, I thought somebody was going to draft him like way too stupid high, but I mean, was it? What are you doing? Yeah, at 249, like take that flyer because he has potential to be a really good backup in my opinion. Like better than I Minshew. Like I don't. I mean, it
Oh
is what it
yeah.
is.
I did want to give one last shout out here. I'm getting there. Bear with me. Eli Heidenreich, Navy running back, is from Pittsburgh, but I did want to point this out. That dude went to my rival high school. He's from Mount Lebanon. I went to Upper St. Clair. So when they were kind of when I saw his like kind of local highlights, I was like, oh, I know that uniform. The Lebo Blue Devils, and so I was like, oh, that's cool. So he went to Navy, and then he was drafted by the Steelers in round 7, pick 230. That was pretty cool. Also, I mean, the spectacle in Pittsburgh was very cool. The Steelers looked, cool franchise, all that renegade for the each one. I have so much frustrations with the Steelers right now these days that have been well documented by our cast, but I can still acknowledge, hey, they did a good job pulling the draft off and making it look good for the fans. So now,
Yeah, yeah. Now we can go.
so we're going to get into this. That was more sport than I thought, but we do have some solid popular culture things to get into right here. I threw this one in there because I didn't know how much we would have to say about it, but you're a bigger Star Wars fan than me. So there is some talk, and it's more rumors than anything else right now, but there's a lot of where there's smoke, there's fire, I think. There is serious talk about them uncanonizing the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Um, I have some thoughts on this, but I'd like to hear what you have to say now that your boy Filoni is in charge.
I I just really doubt that they would ever do that. I mean, along with like aside from the fact that it would be like a huge like public embarrassment, I just think it'd be messy in a way that like you don't need to do. Like it everybody acknowledges what the sequel series is and like that just is what it is. And like now
I
like
don't think they all do.
like
It's a
well
cinematic failure.
okay, but like
It
like
is.
10 like 10 years after it's over, like going back and like deciding that we need to remove it all and then we're going to start from scratch again, like what 15 years after Force Awakens comes out. Like
Here's the
I
thing.
don't see the point in that.
I'm with you, and I don't think that's going to happen either because it is what it is at this point. Um, I'm someone who thinks it was a complete failure, personally, the sequel trilogy. I thought Force Awakens was pretty good. The next two were garbage. That's just how I feel. The Last Jedi might be my least favorite Star Wars property of any kind, and that includes The Acolyte. Um, but I will say this. Yes. What? What?
No, no, it's just very funny because some people like you're either one or the other. Some people think The Last Jedi is like the second best Star Wars movie ever, and
Yeah,
some
which
people
is
think it's the worst. You're
yeah.
either one or the other on that movie, and it's so funny that
Yeah, and
like some people
yeah,
think it's so
I'm
good.
embarrassed for those people that think that. Because I'm not one of them. The rest of us that feel like me, which is the majority of Star Wars fans, from what I've gathered, feel that way. Now, believe it ruined the trilogy or whatever. I would argue the trilogy was fundamentally flawed because they never planned out everything. Here's the thing. I think there's a way you could make it an Elseworlds type project, sort of like they're doing with the DCU, like what they're doing with Ahsoka, the whole like dimension thing she's in. Like maybe that's one of the futures that happens, so that people who like the sequel stuff, you can leave that open. But here's the big thing that it does if you uncanonize that stuff. All this stuff going on right now in the timeline you've established that's actually interesting in the post original trilogy world, Mandalorian and Grogu, it's coming out this month that a lot of people are not going to go see. A lot of people will, but I think it's going to struggle. That suddenly becomes your canon timeline, and anything can happen. Like the excitement level for me goes way higher in that kind of chronological telling of events, knowing that the stupid stuff that happens in the sequel trilogy doesn't happen. Um, that's just I think it's a good move. That's just me. That's my personal opinion. It would get me interested in Star Wars again.
I fair, fair. I don't disagree that it would be in the best interest of everybody for it to happen. I just disagree that like I really don't think it will. I I think if anything, now from my understanding of the ancient texts of George Lucas, um, the original plan was 12 movies. When he mapped it out
Yeah,
in his mind in the 70s, it was the whole opera saga was 12 movies, and so it would be four different trilogies. And so there is an option to sort of course correct with another sequel series that takes place after Skywalker, and have that series actually be good. That like if you can have one person in charge of all three movies, have a coherent plan, and have it actually be good, that can be a way to sort of rectify the situation.
I would
But
agree.
there's I mean that's a big undertaking and a big ask, but
It
I think
is.
I
Yeah,
think for the time being, they probably are totally fine sort of sticking with these other stories of, you know, like the like the Sean Levy movie that or the with the Ryan Gosling movie that's coming out,
oh yeah, the like X-wing, the
Starfighter or
like
whatever.
Starfighter movie
Yeah,
thing that's happening.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think they'd be better served doing like individual stories like that just in universe, and maybe and trying really hard to make those good and interesting, um, rather than really trying to upsell this whole original Skywalker saga story that people have lost faith in,
yeah,
to be
and
honest.
and interesting. And I honestly think, as we've talked about, you and I, we've had some of my favorite conversations on this cast about Star Wars because it is such a polarizing but important saga to so many people, and I would argue American storytelling, quite frankly. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I look around and I'm like, there's so much wasted potential in this franchise, but at the same time, I acknowledge I don't know what the exact way forward should be. No one has that
I
exact answer.
the other problem that is also at least relevant in the Star Wars universe now is that it's the same problem that the MCU has, to where there's so much backstory and
Yeah,
so much content you have to consume to understand what's happening now. Like like somebody was I saw this tweet that was like if I want to show somebody uh if I want to show somebody, the Ahsoka show, I have to, I have to show them like a 10 season child's television show. Like, or if I
yeah,
want to show somebody Mandalorian, like I mean, like Mandalorian and Grogu, you have to go see all the seasons of Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, probably Ahsoka. Like, it's just,
yeah,
I mean, there's just so, and then all the source content for Ahsoka you have to go see, and it's just like there's a lot of stuff that you have to see that like the diehards have seen and the diehards get, but like it's really not casual friendly anymore. Like,
And the more sequel
what?
stuff you make off that content, the diehards are going to become fewer and fewer who've seen everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the MC. You're right. It is the
yeah.
MCU problem
I mean,
right now.
until you're pretty much just left with that Star Wars theory guy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
You
So,
know the guy I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let me just put it this way. I think it would be a good idea to do something like this to kind of save face, but um, I also don't lean towards they're not going to do that. Like there are ways forward that don't involve
Yeah.
discounting something. Three films that so many people worked a lot on. A lot of hard work went into them. And were they the best to everyone? No, but we shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean?
I
So
okay. I for instance, like I said this at the time when it came out, the Acolyte. There is so much there as far as that time period. Like
yeah,
that time period was like the universe that the Acolyte set up is really interesting. Like
I would agree.
we can say what they want about the writing and the stuff they did with the show, but the universe that they established of like the Jedi becoming way too full of themselves, and they're like, oh, we're becoming the army now.
The
Like
Sith
like
comes back.
the creation of that like era where they start to become way too powerful and like people are turning against them. Um, is really interesting. Or you could go back to the Old Republic. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do with different time periods that do exist in video games or in other places that you
Hmm.
can like kind of go back and set up a whole new series and do a story from there that doesn't involve any new information.
I
That
agree.
like I mean you can do that. Like
You
that could
can.
be something like it would be very interesting if somebody wanted to start a new trilogy based on an Old Republic story. Like that would be very interesting.
Very true. I'm going to move us on here because we do have two more topics, and we could talk a lot more on that one. I do want to move us on to the just talking about the Clayface teaser that came out. The DCU has dropped its third trailer for its third movie. Obviously, we're excited for Supergirl. If you're like me, Casen, the first thing I saw, if you're not familiar with Clayface, Clayface is a Batman villain. And to be honest with you, you could probably make horror movies about most standalone horror movies about most of Batman's rogues gallery. Um, like Scarecrow would be cool. You could do one with
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze. Like they're layups, you know what I mean? This was an interesting way that I honestly was pretty skeptical until I saw the poster. I was like, okay, that looks interesting, just kind of a melting face. And then, of course, the teaser, I was like, okay, if they just do the episode Feet of Clay from Batman the Animated Series as the movie, sign me up. That's awesome. What do you think of the Clayface teaser from DC
Uh
Studios?
yeah, so I mean I'm not super familiar with the character. You're obviously a much bigger DC guy. And
Sure.
I'm also not a huge horror person.
Me neither.
Let alone like specifically body horror. Like it's a bit of a thing for me.
It's a, yeah.
The trailer was not fun to watch. Uh, um, but
Fair enough.
yeah, I mean, if that's what they're going for, like, if they're going for like, I don't know, what like the substance meets Batman, then
Hmm.
sure. I mean, that's I think achieved.
I very much think it's going to unfold like the substance. Like it is kind of interesting how we're getting these two films back to back that revolve around like an actor that takes a substance to try and fix, and then ultimately it plunges them down like a Cronenbergian nightmare. Yeah, um, I'm with you there. I'm not usually the biggest horror guy. Um, it is. This also might be a movie that, based on the time of year, because it is coming out October 23rd of this year, I might have to wait to see it anyway, given the circumstances of just the schedule in my life at the time. But if they're able to pull it off, I just think it's cool that they're going for different genres out of the gate. I really respect them for
Mhm.
trying to pull it off. Let's be real; it's also a really low stakes character. It's a really low stakes story they're going to tell. Like it's an origin story for a villain. Like whatever. But I'm also curious to see what cool effects they could do with the Clayface in like bringing that to the big screen rather. And if you're not familiar with Clayface, just Google the Clayface. You can see kind of what his full form looks like in comics. He does look very comic booky, and I think at times a little goofy, to be completely honest with you. So um, I'm kind of hoping that they're able to land on a Clayface design that in the film by the end there is like a full formed he's gone fully Clayface and they have to make that look cool or it's going to be stupid. It's like how MODOK in the MCU was really probably never
Yeah,
a good idea.
yeah, yeah,
Like, execution of that was poor. So that's where my interest is more than anything else. But the other thing Clayface can do is he can form into different people. He's like chameleon in the MCU. So that's where his danger is. He's at the center of quite a few of my favorite plot twists in not just Batman stories, but some DC stories. So that's my take on the Clayface situation. Anything else?
yeah. No, I mean, I think we probably talked about it when it was like announced, but like it
Mhm.
makes sense as like a James Gunn thing to want to do maybe a horror project. I risky to sort of do like kind of an lesser known character, kind of weird, origin of a villain story really this early in
Yeah.
this whole new DCU thing. But I that must mean that maybe he has uses for him that he wanted to set this up because Clayface is going to come into play here soon after. I don't know, but
Friend of the show, Matt, could confirm this whenever this episode goes out. I'm pretty sure that Clayface has a cameo appearance in Creature Commandos. So, which obviously is a in canon DCU show, but it's animated. So obviously this takes place chronologically before Superman even. So which I'm like, yeah, well, it would have to. It makes sense. So it'll be our first look at Gotham. I liked all the Gotham shots I saw in the little teaser. Um, I do agree with the people saying that like if you're a horror fan, I've heard horror people say I don't want to see anything more from this movie. I'd rather just go in blind. You can do that, but I'm like, yeah, well, I'd like to see another trailer though. I would personally. So
mhm.
which we will for sure. All right, man. Um, there was also a show that we're quite fond of that wrapped up season two of Daredevil. Born Again is over. Spoiler alert out of the gate for it because
Yeah, yeah,
the whole back end of the show we're just going to talk about here. We're not going to go in necessarily chronological order, but we're just going to talk about
yeah,
where the season went,
yeah.
where things ended. Where do you want to start?
All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to start with Boo. There we go. That was the best part of the episode to me. But yeah, so yeah, so I think we got a couple episodes to talk about because I don't think we've talked since I don't know
I think we in
five or
full
six.
have four to talk about,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to necessarily remember exactly what was in each every single one. So as you want to talk about events, just kind of
Um,
go with it.
but yeah, I mean, so I to sort of summarize, I think I thought the last episode was great. I mean, obviously the the courtroom scene with Murdoch
We
and
finally
Fisk.
got a cool courtroom scene again. We got
Yeah.
two. We got two episodes spanning of it. Yeah.
I thought that whole conversation was great. Um, and then we saw the thing that Fisk likes to do, where when Murdoch was and the other attorneys were back in chambers and Fisk was whispering to him so he could hear with the super hearing that we
Mhm.
saw it last season. Uh, it was a great shot.
I would agree. I will also go ahead and say, just to get this out of the way, the last thing we did talk about, and I just remembered this, was the fact of Fisk is going to go crazy because we don't know what's going to happen to Vanessa. Well, the following episode was kind of a filler episode where we got a little bit of a flashback that kind of showed like Daredevil series. We got a little bit of like passive, like Foggy and Matt doing stuff. How they kind of helped out one of, they were working for another practice. It was like a prequel story, kind of, but
Yeah.
intermixed into like the hallucinations that Vanessa was having. But the big thing is at the end of that episode, she does die. Um, and I just want to make sure we establish that because the Fisk we got in the back end of this season was a Fisk I never thought we'd like see. But I tying it back to what you just said, if you recall at the end of season 3 of Daredevil, the main motivation that Fisk had to not reveal who Matt Murdock is to everyone is that he would pin all a bunch of crimes on Vanessa. So I immediately thought to myself, Fisk does not have Vanessa anymore. So what is stopping him from just straight up telling everybody himself? And it ended up coming out anyway. I just thought it was kind of interesting that as I reminded myself of that, I thought, so is he just going to say, hey, everybody, Matt Murdock's Daredevil? Like, get him. That didn't quite go down like that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, so I there was that huge fight scene that in I think it was it was the episode after she died,
Hmm.
and Fisk was like in his like cellar space
Hmm.
thing, and he was staring at that painting,
And
and
Matt showed
then
up.
Matt showed up, and then they fought, and then like it was a conversation of like and then Matt was like, "Are we gonna just kill each other? Like what is happening?"
Yeah,
And I think to your point, it makes sense though because there's always been this weird relationship between the two of them. And
agreed.
I think with Fisk losing Vanessa, you were like, well, he could just tell everybody who Matt Murdock is. The thing is, he doesn't want that
Yeah.
because now Matt is like all he has. Because like there's this
Mm,
weird I you would know more about it than I do, but like the dynamic that I've always sort of picked up between them is like they almost both have this really toxic symbiotic relationship with each other to
I would
where like
agree.
they both need each other in their lives to have a sense of purpose. Like Matt doesn't like Matt chooses to not kill him for moral reasons, but there's also this undertone of like he doesn't know what he's going to do when he's gone reasons. Like
Yeah.
like they both can't live without each other because like they give each other a sense of purpose with the good versus bad things they do.
It's a really good thing, or at least in Fisk's, in each of their minds, they're the biggest villain for each other. They're the biggest
Yeah.
antagonist
Yeah.
because obviously Fisk is, but from where Fisk is at, he thinks he's doing the right thing. I will do with it whatever it takes to protect my city. Blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but you're like what you're doing is clearly evil. Like, oppressing people. That's a really, really, really smart and great point. And I can say that in the Daredevil stories I've read, my friend, like I think this show does a better job at showing that relationship and showing like it's like the one of the incredible episodes of Batman the animated series that I've said before, where it's believed that this 2-bit kind of crook like did a thing that accidentally killed Batman. Joker loses the will to live. He's got like that incredible monologue that was done by Mark Hamill. He's like got this sneaky suspicion that he's he's really not coming. Like it's one of the best ones, and it's like everyone thinks he's gone, and it's the same kind of thing. It's like, what would I do if he was no longer here? You know what I mean? And so I do think there is a little bit of that going on. And in that same way, their stories are kind of forever intertwined, right? Um, Also, quite frankly, like if something ever happened to Fisk, the show would be astronomically less interesting. Which is something I kind of want to get into when we talk about the actual finale. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I thought the way that they interwove Jessica Jones coming back in was very, very well. There wasn't too much of her, but there was also enough of her for there to be like, oh no, that's Jessica Jones, and she's here and she's still super strong, and really cool. Um, but I loved how they really raised the stakes of, yeah, but what if Karen actually, what if someone got, you know? Well, they're probably going to face trial, and that's what happened, and that's what led us into the finale, so to speak. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that whole scene, Like I gotta say, I mean the back half of the season, like after Vanessa's death, was really good. I mean, as far as like
Hmm.
really portraying Fisk driving the city into chaos with his own personal like emotional just whatever he was
Hmm.
experiencing. Like like the end of the episode where there was that like riot on in the streets and
Yep.
Karen gets arrested at the end. Like everybody there and Fisk is just like standing there and like they're like, what do we do? and uh and then that one main task force guy is like Karen Page. and, and,
Yep.
and you're like, oh, I was like, oh God, he's gonna kill her. Like, I don't know. Uh,
Right, right, and it's that's one of those people that's where it's like strictly alive, right? I did want to talk about one scene that I thought was I want to say maybe a top five for me in the entire season. Can't say show yet. We don't know how all that's going to go, but um, Heather's character was one that I wasn't really sure where they were going to take her this season. And for a little bit there, I thought she was going to be kind of wasted because it's like, okay, she's not really, they're not really showing a whole lot in that regard. Okay, well, they're showing Daniel and Buck getting to know each other a little bit better. I'm bouncing around here, but we also saw a little bit of Buck's backstory of kind of how he became the new Wesley, his like go-to guy, his fixer, so to speak. So in that flashback episode, but getting back, I was kind of like, there's really nothing for Heather to do here. Like, where are they taking her character? And as you said, she's dealing with alcohol, she's dealing with like the trauma of Muse and everything, and she's ran to the fists for help. You know what I mean? Well, she loses a friend too, and they established that in Vanessa passing away. And when she gets face to face with Karen, and Karen just with a few words gets the better of her, and she just slaps her, I was like, "Whoa!" Like I was like, Karen. I was sitting here thinking to myself because
mhm.
they have that shared experience of also being in love with Matt, right? But you've got the actual love interest of Matt Murdock, who knows him truly, and you've got Heather on this other side duality, who very much feels abandoned by Matt and the system and vigilantes. I don't know. I love a situation where a character we're rooting for can say a couple of words and just completely demolish the other person. I mean, that scene was amazing to me. The tension, like,
Oh
I'm,
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, and then she strikes her, and I'm like, oh, got her, gotcha. And then they imply that she's like, can't wait for round two. So I'm like, oh my gosh, are we gonna get a Karen versus Heather fight? That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, I mean on paper, like Heather has really gotten done a little dirty by Matt in this whole situation
Absolutely.
of like
Absolutely.
the context of like what happened. Uh and then like I saw this too of like somebody posted this on Twitter. They were like then in the finale in the courtroom scene, like after the trial's over, like Matt and Karen are like making out in the courtroom and like Heather's there like watching this happen. And they're like, "Oh, that is what drove her to the end."
Yeah,
Like,
it's actually true. I'm like, from where she's sitting, I understand why she's so upset.
yeah.
Like this is I'm like, that's a good point, Jason. Very, very good point. But I do want to pull this in here. One of the things that does happen in the comics, my guy, is eventually the public does find out who Matt is. Okay. And they gave us one of the greatest, they gave us maybe the greatest reveal in the MCU of any kind since I Am Iron Man. I truly, I think it was. It's like,
Mhm.
because the truth is, turns around, because I'm Daredevil.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
you saw it coming to him. I'm like, he's gonna say it. He's gonna say it. He's also said it before in this show. He said it to Karen. He said it to like Foggy. He said, it's like, oh, he's gonna say it to
I
everybody.
I I would also like to like file a grievance against like the this is not the first time this has happened, but like whoever's running their Daredevil Twitter account has been like posting clips the day before, like the day that an episode premieres of like
Yeah,
very big
yeah,
plot points before the episode comes out. Because like the episode comes out at like what 9, And like I saw that courtroom clip at like 3 p.m. and I was like, so okay, thanks for telling me that this is gonna happen. Like I
I
don't
didn't realize that. That's horrible. Yeah, I didn't.
I
For
was
me,
like,
it
what the
was
hell?
yeah.
It's
For
like this is
me,
so bad.
that is really egregious and bad. Like, don't get me wrong. There's more. That's that I agree with you. That's just bad because that's like one of the pivotal, if not the most pivotal moment of the entire episode. But um, I like that we got to see like how great a lawyer Matt still is. You know what I mean? We got to see a little bit of the Matt Murdock side, high intensity, a really great court scene. He's literally got Fisk on the stand.
Mhm.
Um, and then of course he reveals it and. There was kind of a cool romance moment of like after he does that and then he takes the when he just like when he two hopped the freaking pole he has the cane he has bang bang and then he catches it. I'm like, well, that would convince me. I'd be sitting here. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's Daredevil. I mean, that's him. I don't know about you guys. That's totally him. Also, task force guys. I'd be like, yo guys, I'd be that task force guy in the back saying, how can we get out of here quick? Because I don't want to have anything to do with fighting that guy. But Karen almost has this look like she's falling more and more in love with him as he's doing what he's doing. And then of course they adjourn and he wins and everything. But then it's like mad dash out of there. And um the dueling hallway scenes, tying it all the way back to the boo moment, absolutely incredible. Like, and again, showing their duality. It's like I was literally like, is Fisk just gonna wreck all these people? And he does. Like I just did not see that coming.
there there so like there was something else too that like okay, so like he got exiled, but like also in order to get out of the courthouse, everybody just saw Mayor Kingpin murder like 150 people. Like
Yeah, he just definitely killed at least 10 people in that sequence. If you take the hallway alone, like he probably maimed up to like 30. Like what is this? I will say that the Jessica Jones and Daredevil, Jessica and Matt like clearing that hallway on the other side might have been the greatest like pure action they put together. Like he sends one guy to one direction, she tosses one guy, he hits the club, he goes out the window. I'm like, every time he's just like clearing, every time he's just whooping these guys, it's just the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's some of the greatest content I've ever seen in the MCU. I mean, just is. But I do want to talk about the actual ending, where everybody left off. um, I did appreciate how Matt ultimately gives him an ultimatum, like, "Hey, we should just both leave, or we both leave the limelight, or whatever." And remember, Matt was all about retribution, but he uses another. He goes the other way with the whole biblical symbolism, and he says, "I call that grace. It's giving grace." And I thought that was really interesting because is Wilson Fisk someone that deserves it? I don't know, but it's like, hey, this is all just going to keep repeating if we don't both just get
I
out of the picture. So,
yeah, and so we end it with Fisk on a beach staring off into the ocean,
yeah, which
and
again, how did he get there? But okay.
yeah, and then Matt's in jail, and you see these like side by sides of them, and the real interesting thing is like you see Fisk clearly like sad at his situation, and you see Matt like I wouldn't say happy, but like content.
He's
That
content. Yeah.
like he's okay being in prison. And I mean this is probably like the Catholic boy in him of like understanding that this is his penance for what he's done as Daredevil, that he in his mind knows that he did good things, but he knows that he deserves it because he knows that he did bad things too. Like what he did like what he did after Foggy was killed, and
Hmm.
I think that he understands that there's a penance that he has to serve for what he's done, even though it was in the name of good. Like he feels like this is punishing himself to like I
Yeah.
guess wipe his slate clean.
And I thought about that too because it shows it shows her and him and Karen sitting at that cafe, and I thought to myself, there's no way this is a scot-free situation, right? Like Matt still is on the hook for I think quite a few charges here, knowing that he's now Daredevil. If you go all the way back to the beginning of the show, and then the cops pull up, and it's not the task force cops; it's the regular New York police come in, and Matt doesn't. He's like, "All right, cool," and he just on. They're not overly violent with him. Like it's just like, "All right, hey, you're still under arrest, man." Like I was just like, yeah, he's still definitely under arrest and probably going to prison, at least for some
Well,
stuff. I
and
mean,
he's in prison with the task force guys.
he is. I thought that was interesting. The guys, O'Malley or whatever the main dude is, those guys are in prison. Uh, we do see, shout out Matt Lillard. We see Mr. Charles with Bullseye on a plane leaving. Bullseye did have one of the most clutch moments. He saved the governor in this show. That whole one good deed thing.
Yeah.
Word has it he's getting his actual Bullseye suit in the next season of this show. But that kind of brings me to my final piece here. Also, just say Jessica Jones, Luke Cage comes back in. Their daughter Danielle's there. Cool. I'll be honest, I never saw season 2 of Luke Cage, so I don't know where he's been, but I assume he's been not in the country or whatever. But their family's back together. Cool. Good. I don't know where they take a season 3 because it's confirmed. I think we're getting one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're filming it now. Yeah.
They're filming it now. So it's going to be the same. So we're going to be right back here talking about Daredevil a year from now.
Well, the part that makes me mad is that like I saw spoilers for filming this like weeks ago. So
Mm,
so the end of this with Heather putting on the Muse mask,
yep.
like I saw that in a spoiler from a scene shoot like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago,
Mm.
because she was walking around filming a scene as Lady Muse, and so I was like kind of annoyed. I was like, why are there just Daredevil leaks all over Twitter now? Like I
Well,
was
part of
like,
that's
this is
just
crazy.
part of that's just the internet, and they are just like filming in New York. So it's
Yeah,
sort of like when we were seeing all that stuff about Spider-Man: Brave New Day. Like I was like, I don't love that I'm seeing this, but it's like him swinging through the city is not a spoiler.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I would imagine that at some point early in season 3, like Matt has to get out of jail because I don't understand what the show would be if he's just in jail the whole season.
well,
Like if
right, but
he's just
also,
if he's just behind bars.
right, but also, is Fisk just gonna be like, I'm bored, I'm going back? Like, is he gonna come back like Napoleon? Like, is he just gonna be like, I'm reclaiming
Yeah.
my empire? All of my guys on the way are gonna join
Well,
me.
Well, I think what you're gonna see is I would guess he's gonna do it like from the underground behind the scene. Like he's gonna be running stuff like from the island or whatever. Like he's gonna be somehow involved but not be there. And
Sort of
there's
like
gonna
season
be,
2.
yeah, so it's gonna be like trying to
Yeah.
figure out that like he's actually the one behind all this stuff. And yeah. Um I will say it's been commented on that there's a shot of Spider-Man in the new Spider-Man movie in jail, and
Oh
there's a
yeah.
conversation about that uh to which Charlie Cox has denied. But of
I don't
course he
believe I don't
denied.
believe him for a second. I don't believe
No,
him for
of
a
course
second.
not. Of
No
course
way.
not.
I'm like,
Um,
you know what's gonna happen? Someone's gonna throw a brick at him, and out of nowhere, a hand's gonna come in, bam, and then the camera's gonna pan, and it's Matt. It's gonna be exactly like in No Way Home. That's what's gonna happen. And he's like, hey, aren't you Matt Murdock? Yeah, I'm a really good lawyer. And then he fights the hand. It's gonna, it's gonna be awesome.
um,
That's great.
I, I don't know. I wonder if we get the uh Iron Fist in season 3, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, they've established
Um,
three.
I
Go ahead.
so I will say it was objectively kind of funny because there was the whole drama with Mike Coulter like posting Instagram photos from set,
Yeah.
and he leaked the Matt in a prison jumpsuit thing. But I was like, this is so funny considering the fact that he was in the episode for literally 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like he was on set for like a day and he
He just
managed
walks
to
in.
leak the finale.
Yeah, which I don't know. Maybe the cast putting stuff out there is a little bit of the marketing ploy for this, especially if you're I mean, if you're a diehard like us, I mean, for all intents and purposes, this was season 5 of Daredevil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and they're going to be doing a season 6. I mean, we'll see kind of how it happens. Daredevil proper. I mean, if you count the old show and
yeah.
the current show. Um, let's go ahead and rate this up. Uh,
All right, but before we do, I do at least want to
okay,
acknowledge. I want to.
okay.
We skipped over it because there was so much to cover. I mean, to pour one out for Danny Boy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Good
I
catch, good
our
catch.
board Daniel. I We did talk about it. That
We
like
did.
he was real conflicted at the like. So after he drove upstate with Buck and he had to like bury a body to like, essentially like buy into the club, then he was like real conflicted, and he was like really getting a lot more. He was getting a lot closer with BB, and then he was gonna have to turn her over to Buck, and he didn't. He at the end of the day, he didn't want to do that, and he was like, I can't live with myself if I do that. And he basically let himself get killed and
I
to save
can't
her.
quote I can't quote him obviously on this show, but he does have a few of my favorite spoken lines in that
Hmm.
sequence where he's like, nah, she's not coming. Do what you got to do. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, like,
That
yeah, that's
I
awesome. It's
I
like this guy.
that sequence is so good, and it's like
Hmm.
I respect to Michael on that because like he pulled up like Tony Soprano, and he's like
Hmm.
he's not coming.
He really did. I mean, he just walked in there like, nah. And it's hilarious because the two of them, those two actors, had like a pretty great photo emerge on Instagram of Galfini all messed up and Buck's just standing there like pointing at him. I'm like, yeah, like when you have to do all these scenes together, you're gonna become friends. Like this is just funny because
Yeah,
you see the cast pictures and it's like hilarious. Even them in the car, it's like, man,
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure some of this was just so fun to film. But yeah, I will say that among the heroes in here, Daniel's ultimately up there, man. And it came right down to, you know what, I'm not turning my friend over to these psychos, you know. Um, and we'll see what happens. I mean, as far as I know, there's one person I don't know where is by the end of the show. I don't know where Buck ended up because I didn't see him in any of the sequences, and unless I missed something. But I think Buck's still at large somehow.
I don't remember. Yeah, I might have missed it too, because I'm trying to remember. He was there when Bullseye took the shot.
And that's like the
He,
last time you see him.
no, he's dead
Is
because
Buck?
he got shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
By
Buck was
Bullseye?
Buck was the one who Bullseye shot,
Okay.
and so
Okay.
he was in the courtroom bleeding out, and Heather was with him.
Oh, but they didn't show him die. They did not show him die.
They didn't show him die, I don't think, but he
Mm-mm.
was
Right. Because
dying.
it's still implied that they're kind of, a thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, romantically involved. Anyway, whatever. Okay, got
But
it.
they I
Mystery
don't think they
solved.
can we didn't see it. I don't think they confirmed that, so that could be up in the air.
He's in the weeds still. I got it. But let's rate this up. I loved this. I loved this so much. I thought it was better than
Yeah.
the last season. It
Oh
was
yeah.
awesome. Just to remind everybody, it goes bronze, silver, gold, vibranium, and adamantium. That is what we got now. That's been established. Those are the 5 tiers of how we rate Marvel projects. What are you thinking?
I don't remember what I rated the last season, but
I
I
think I think
mean
I think the last season you ultimately said vibranium because it was our new system because you kind of looked at the whole Muse arc um as filler, which I disagreed. I remember giving it adamantium, but I believe that's what you did. You can check the archives, but yeah.
I fair, and I will give it adamantium this season. I agree. I think it was a much better season, in part because there was a bit of filler last season to sort of establish this that like they had the runway to do all of this stuff that was sort of set up.
They had
Like
the whole bank
which
episode too. Remember that? Like that was
oh
filler.
yeah yeah
Yeah.
which yeah, that's fair. Um, I I will I you know I will say, I mean, if I did reason that the Muse thing was a reason for me saying vibranium, that payoff does come out through Heather now. So
I agree.
I will acknowledge that. Yeah. Mm-mm.
I will also give this adamantium. I'm not trying to just sit here and glaze it, but out of all of these seasons of Daredevil, because those old seasons were 13 episodes long, I would argue that this is the first season since season one where every piece of content they put on screen, none of it wasted my time. None of it was filler. All of it mattered into making the end all pay off. And they were just able to do that with less episodes, more concise storytelling, a lot cleaner of a writing. I was very much on the tip of my on the edge of my seat every waking scene that was next because I just didn't know what was going to happen. Gave me that I don't know who's safe kind of feeling. Um, and like I said, best season of Daredevil I think since the first one. Just my opinion. So
The first Netflix season, you mean?
the
Yeah.
Netflix
Yeah.
seat. Yep, the Netflix seat. Yeah, and I know they're two different shows, but they are kind of one whole tapestry of
Hmm.
this character story, and one of the best things the MCU has going for it. I really hope more people continue to watch it and give it the flowers
Yeah.
it
I
deserves.
mean, I was just gonna say that too. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's not like we're just sitting here and glazing it. It's a simple fact that that Daredevil Born Again has been probably the best thing Marvel's put out in years. That's just a fact.
Maybe post Endgame, and
Yeah.
even like No Way Home. There's been some really good ones, but if you want to go by consistent level of quality that again I remember saying last year I didn't think that we were getting any of those Netflix characters back. They found a way to
Yeah.
canonize all of it and
Yeah.
bring it all in. I think it's fantastic. Now the I think we are going to get a strong Spider-Man movie this year. Please somehow make this matter, okay?
Yeah.
Make the anarchy in New York matter somehow. I don't want this to be a situation where we can't talk about the stuff that's happening in the TV show. Like the city's been through some stuff. Can we at least just have an acknowledgement of that? And before we get Spider-Man, we are going to get the Punisher, which you and I could come back and talk about at some point. But we are getting that Punisher series, which I think is coming out soon, isn't it?
I want to say.
Yeah, or it's coming out. I think right before Spider-Man. Whatever. I think it's coming out in between, but I think it's technically next in
Mhm.
the sequence. So
I
yeah,
will say I did we think that he was going to be in this because he wasn't here.
well that's just it. That he was in. I was going to say I think he was. I don't recall him being in. I think he was referred to once, but that was it. So there you go.
Yeah.
And I don't
Well,
think he was.
well,
Go ahead.
didn't Heather mention him, or who mentioned him to Karen?
Might have been Matt because at one point they go to like that warehouse, and I think it was Frank's old save house where they're interrogating that one guy.
Yeah, yeah,
So so maybe that's why. And it confuses me because Frank's in the flashbacks. You know what I mean? They're showing like the
yeah.
recaps, and so it's like, wait, is he going to be in here? Well, no, he's not in here. So no, just Frank's just in the weeds.
Interesting. Yeah,
So this episode's getting a little long, but we that's it. We've covered what we needed to cover for
yeah.
today, for this week. Another fantastic season of Marvel shows. Here in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about baseball. We're going to get into more stuff as we go into not just the warmer months, but our movie seasons. As we can.
Hmm.
Up
Yeah.
until then, thank you everyone so much for watching, listening, however you consume. Anything else, my friend?
Uh, I guess go Cavs, go Knights.
Go Cavs, go Knights, go Sabres. And yeah, take care of each other or something. And happy Mother's Day. That's when
Yeah.
cap it with the Happy Mother's
Happy
Day
Mother's
weekend
Day.
by the time you hear it for sure. This is Kellan,
This is Casen.
and we'll see you as always at the next stop.